Also in Alameda County, police have cracked 2 cold cases of a sexual assault and murder back from the 1970s. After DNA analysis, investigators say that Fred Farnham was responsible for the death of Nellie and Hicks in Newark back in 1972 and 48-year-old Theresa Pica in Hayward in 1979. Farnham died in 2007.
Officer and the Public Information Officer with the Hayward Police Department. We're here today to discuss a breakthrough in 2 cases, a 1979 sexual assault and murder in Hayward, California, and a 1972 sexual assault and murder in Newark, California. Following statements from Hayward Police Chief Brian Matthews and Newark Police Captain Jolie Macias, we'll invite family members to make comments to speak. Afterwards, we will be available for a few questions. I will now turn over to Chief Matthews. Thank you.
All right, good morning. My name is Brian Matthews. I'm the Chief of the Hayward Police Department, and we're here today to discuss a couple of sexual assault and murder cases which were recently solved through collaborative investigative work by members of the Hayward Police Department, the Newark Police Department, and the FBI. I'm going to talk specifically about the Hayward case, and then I'll turn it over to Newark Police to talk about their case. 45 years is a long time. It's been a long time for generations of investigators who have worked on this case, and it's been a long time for the families of the victims and our community as they've waited for answers. Although much time has passed since these incidents took place, they've been continuously investigated. Through hard work, advances in technology, and collaboration between our local and federal partners, we have answers in the sexual assaults and murders of Hayward resident Theresa Pica and Newark resident Nellie Hicks. On May 21st, 1979, Theresa Pica's body was discovered by 3 of her children in their Hayward home. She was 48 years old. The scene was disturbing to say the least. Theresa had been bound, sexually assaulted, and died from blunt force trauma. The scene offered no immediate clues that would lead to the identification of the person or persons responsible. Hayward investigators collected evidence at the scene which was later determined to contain DNA, and I want to acknowledge the original investigator in this case, retired Detective Dave Kohler, who is present with us today. However, DNA testing did not exist at that time, and when DNA testing technology became available, Hayward investigators were unable to find a match. Late last year, investigators received assistance and resources from our partners with the FBI. Genealogical DNA technology was used, which allowed investigators to identify Fred Bernard Farnham as the man responsible for the sexual assault and murder of Theresa Pica. Farnham, who was from Oregon, died in a hospital in 2007 at the age of 73. And criminal records show he was convicted of a series of sexual assaults in the Bay Area. I want to thank the Newark Police Department, the FBI, the Serological Research Institute in Richmond, California, and the Othram Laboratory in the Woodlands, Texas for their partnership, assistance, and commitment to justice and seeing this case through. I also want to commend our Hayward Police Department investigators and support staff for their tireless efforts and persistence in solving this case. This case passed through the hands of generations of investigators, and their determination and tenacity has brought this case to a close. And my thoughts are with Theresa Pica's family. It is my hope that the resolution of this case will help bring them some closure, and that they will continue the process of healing and moving forward. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Captain Jolie Macias from the Newark Police Department.
Thank you, Chief Matthews. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm Captain Jolie Macias. The Newark Police Department is proud to be here alongside Hayward Police Department to finally provide closure for the Hicks and Pica families. Today is truly about these families and the resiliency over the past 50-plus years. My heart goes out to the family of Mrs. Hicks that has joined us today, both in person and remotely. The murder of Newark resident Nellie Hicks occurred in May of 1972. She was 59 years old. Mrs. Hicks was brutally attacked inside her Newark home as family members were asleep. It was later determined by investigators that Mrs. Hicks was a victim of sexual assault and died as a result of blunt force trauma. Her body was found by her son, who unfortunately passed away less than 3 months ago, prior to the resolution of this case. In 1979, an astute Newark police detective, Dale Amaral, received a teletype from Hayward Police Department about the Pica murder and noticed a discernible pattern of suspect behavior. These two cases have been linked with a likely common suspect ever since. Both of these cases have steadfastly been worked on by investigators over the decades. Over the years, Newark Detective Unit has made continual progress. As technology evolved, the latest DNA evidence and fingerprint capabilities were sent and resent for processing of the evidence collected in 1972. It is essential that I recognize the tenacious efforts of the team most recently led by Sergeant Yamahoma Yoon for their collaboration with Hayward Police Department, the FBI agents of the Oakland Field Office, and Estrella Forensics of Santa Cruz to bring our cases to a triumphant close. Thank you all for your hard work. Your dedicated efforts have the potential to provide answers for open investigations and the potential to bring a sense of peace for additional victims and their families. Chief Matthews.
Thank you. So while these two cases are now closed, the search for answers is not over. We believe Farnham may be responsible for additional sexual assaults and murders in other communities. Farnham was born and raised in Central California and moved to the South Bay area in the 1950s. From the 1950s through the 1980s, Farnham steadily moved through Northern California, and he ultimately resided in Cave Junction, Oregon until the time of his death. Documentation also indicates Farnham was contacted in Nevada, North Dakota, Idaho, Oregon, and Alaska. We believe there may be other families and other agencies looking for closure in decades-old cases, and we have shared information regarding Farnham and his mode of operation through official law enforcement databases. We encourage anyone with information or any agencies with similar cases to contact Detective Rob Purnell from the Hayward Police Department. His contact information is in the media packet that you have before you.
Thank you. It's my honor to introduce to you someone who can share with us who Mrs. Hicks was and how he has been impacted by the resolution of this investigation. Mrs. Hicks' youngest son, youngest of 6, Mr. Dave Hicks.
I'm sure glad she called me the youngest son. Everyone else called me the baby. I want to show a picture of my lovely mother, and this is it. My mother died at the age of 60. Thank all of you gentlemen for your careful consideration and work on this case. It is very deeply appreciated by all family members, and there are other family members. My mom was a hero. She met our dad in North Dakota, and as a matter of fact, my dad had to migrate up from Texas into North Dakota, and they got married. And fortunately for us, they moved into San Lorenzo. And in San Lorenzo, my mom began her teaching career, as I know it, in Russell City Elementary School. And our dad was a volunteer fireman and also a general contractor who worked on several different jobs, including the Mervyn store in downtown San Lorenzo. My mom raised a family of 6, and she worked full time as a teacher. It was a miracle that we all made it to adult age of 18, which is what my mother considered adult. At 18, we were given the choice, pay rent or move out. But we were allowed to visit. All of us boys joined the service at 18, and my sister got married at 18. As time went on, we moved out of San Lorenzo to Newark, starting in my sophomore year of high school. The Russell City Elementary School shut down, and my mom moved to San Leandro Elementary School. Our mom was murdered and raped at the age of 60. A man comes into the house through the back sliding door about 1 o'clock and hits my mom over the head with a brick wrapped in a nylon stocking. And then he draped her over a chair arm and raped her. One sick individual. My brother, Ron, who passed away this past Christmas, woke up and found this tragic and put a cover over her and called the Newark police. I cannot express my gratitude enough for the police department and their dedication to this case. They did an outstanding job, and I have to say that Hayward Police, Newark Police, FBI agents, all of them worked extremely hard to bring closure to our family. We were a family of 6. We are currently a family of 3. And yes, I am the baby of the family. And I appreciate and thank all of you and all of the police department for your service and undying relentless to catch these criminals, or at least identify them. Thank you very much, all of you.